Welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm your host, Brenda Winkle, educator, healer, speaker, guide, and fierce advocate for your yes. I help sensitive and successful men and women find, reclaim, and live from their full embodied yes. Through empowering you to understand your energetic hygiene, establish healthy boundaries, and heal your nervous system, you'll be able to create your yes-filled life and move through your days with more freedom, more ease, and more joy. You'll hear inspiring stories of people who found their full-bodied yes, thought leaders who pursued their own dreams and are living life on their terms, and learn new ways to find the courage, joy, ease, and freedom to more fully step into your yes-filled life. Say no to the good so you can say yes to the great. Join me on this journey to discover your yes-filled life. Whether you're looking to break free from the golden handcuffs, start a new business, find your dream job, or simply live with more intention and mindfulness, I've got you covered. Let's explore the possibilities together and make your dreams a reality. Ready? Let's do this. Let's get you to your yes-filled life. Hello and welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm your host, Brenda Winkle. Today on the podcast, we have Lisette King, and you are in for a treat with this conversation. But before we get started, I know that as a leader, you have built something amazing, whether it's in your own business or you are a leader in another company. But let me ask you, why does success still feel so heavy? Every decision still runs through you. You trust your intuition, but you second guess yourself and overthink when it matters most. You want to create space and ease in your leadership, but it feels like there's always more to carry. What if leadership could feel lighter? What if you could make high stakes decisions with total clarity, trusting yourself to know when and how to delegate fully and lead with more ease and flow? That's exactly what we're diving into in my next free masterclass, Energetic Leadership. So let me ask you this question. Are you leading your business and work, or is it leading you? We'll be live on Wednesday, March 12th at 11 a.m. Pacific for 60 minutes. And I'm going to walk you through three things. Number one, the CEO energy shift, why traditional leadership strategies leave you drained and what to do instead. Number two, the 3-step framework for intuitive leadership, how to protect your energy, make aligned decisions, and lead with confidence. And number three, a future self activation to help you step into your most powerful, ease-filled CEO presence starting now. This is not another productivity hack. It's about energetic mastery so you can lead, decide, and expand your impact without exhaustion. Best part, it's completely free, but space is limited. So grab your seat now. And there's a bonus for you. If you stay to the end, you're going to get my free CEO energy ritual guide valued at $47. A simple, powerful practice to help you protect and expand your energy every day. Head on over to brendawinkle.com/leadership. It'll take you just 30 seconds to register. And the experience is going to be life-changing. Now, Lisette King is the featured guest on this week's podcast. Lisette King is a transformational leader, author, and teacher dedicated to helping others align their conscious and unconscious minds for lasting change. With expertise in NLP, Huna, and hypnosis, Lisette integrates ancient Hawaiian wisdom with modern techniques to empower clients to release limiting beliefs, embrace their desires, and create limitless lives. She hosts immersive retreats, teaches energy work, and provides breakthrough sessions that inspire profound personal growth. As the host of the Honest Feedback podcast and a doctoral student, Lisette is passionate about preserving universal truths and sharing them through her retreats, classes, and forthcoming book on the unconscious mind. Introducing you to Lisette king. Well, hello, Lisette. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Brenda. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, I'm excited for this conversation. So, you came highly recommended. And also, we had met briefly, I think, at one of the power events, the Portland, Oregon Women's Entrepreneurial Roundtable.
Yes.
And I'm so excited to see where this is going to go today. And I want to
Yeah.
kick it off with one question, which is, what is one thing you either did or did not do that has led you to your yes filled life?
Mm. I can sum it down to one moment. And I was sitting in a meditation during the pandemic, very early on. And in my meditation, all I heard was quit the rat race and go on a honeymoon. And I was
Mm.
like, hmm, that's an interesting call. And so I came out of my meditation and I turned to my wife. We had just eloped. And I said, well, I just got a little message from the voice inside. I like to call it my higher self, the little voice inside that said, quit the rat race and go on a honeymoon. And she goes, let's go. And so we put everything in storage. We packed up my truck. We were just going to take 2 months, and then it turned into a 6 month cross country honeymoon. We did 30 states, and we actually never moved back to LA. It was the catalyst that I didn't know was going to lead to so many other things. It was just like it was a download. It was the next step, and the entire trajectory of my life changed from there.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing. There's so many things that I just want to unpack and learn more about.
Yes.
So I had a download about 4 years ago that I needed to go live in Airbnbs, but I ignored it. And
Okay.
I just was like, there's 101 reasons why that's a terrible idea. But in June of 2024, I put everything in storage and I just went for it. And so for 5 months, I just traveled around the country and it was amazing. One of the best experiences I've ever had. And there's a part of me that kind of wants to do it again.
Yeah. Follow that. Follow
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So you were in LA, went all over the United States, ended up in Portland.
Yes.
And I'm curious, for me, when I'm making decisions like this, if I make the decisions from my mind, from my
Mhm.
cognitive mind, I can come up with pro con lists and lots of reasons why to do things. And then I make terrible mistakes. But when I make decisions that are like heart led, where it just feels right in my body, I never
Mhm.
regret it, even if it doesn't make sense, even if it looks scary. I'm wondering, can you talk a little bit about the things that maybe you experienced or learned in your journey of your honeymoon?
Absolutely. So there's a major lesson that my wife had shared with me once. And I believe I was living by it. I just didn't have the wording for it. And the wording is being obedient to spirit.
Mm,
And I have had that moment a few times where everything got quiet and an answer came through.
mhm,
And my logical mind goes, but I don't know how I'm going to do that. And I always remember the how is not your business. When spirit, source, higher self, I like in my lineage, we call it the higher self, the part of you that knows what's best for you, that you can
mhm,
listen to or not.
mhm.
And when I get that call from spirit, I know the how is not my business. And my next job is just to take the step. Take the step and the bridge will be built.
Yes. Yes, that's how I live as well. I haven't always lived this way. I lived very conventionally by what society deemed normal.
Mhm.
Checking off the boxes of all the things that people say you quote unquote should do. And then it's been a gradual unlearning of everything society has taught me over the last 15 years
Yeah.
to find me in a place where I feel like I'm living free. Was it always easy for you to access that voice inside, or is that something you learned to do?
Oh, that's something that I absolutely developed. And I will say, I think the voice has always been there, and the voice will whisper until it has to scream. And I think if there's anything my refinement has come around, it's listening to it when it's a whisper.
Mhm.
Because there's been many a times it said, go do this. And I'm like, but. And I got backed up and I got in my head and I'm like, I don't know how to do that. And I had all these limitations, all of these limiting beliefs that, well, you're not good enough. You've never done that before. Who do you think you are? You're not smart enough. And these things would come up and paralyze me.
Hmm.
And honestly, it was the work that I serve, the work that I do that helped me unlock and unblock all of those things that were essentially lies. The lies
Mm.
of the unconscious mind, the lies of society, the lies of you can't do that if you're a woman, or you've never done that. Your parents were never entrepreneurs. Who do you think you are? And as all of those lies fell away, and I'm like, I could do whatever I want. I don't know if we can cuss.
You
Some
can cuss.
censor. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. And when I really started to own that within myself, my whole life changed. And when I realized that anything, truly anything is possible, it's like it's all over my branding, like limitless possibilities. When I always knew it was possible, but when it got deep down in my unconscious mind that anything truly is possible, I stopped censoring myself and I stopped making the how my business, because it's that linear thinking. It's just like there's a great book called 10x is easier than
Oh,
2x.
I
Have you
love
ever?
that book.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. When you try to 2x, your brain goes, well, we'll double our efforts. But when you go to 10x, your brain goes, I'm out. I
Yeah.
don't know what to do. So I have to surrender to something bigger than me.
Yes. Oh, I love so much of what you said. Starting with the listening to the voice when it's a whisper before it's a scream. That's
Yes.
something I had to learn because I kept finding myself in these situations where it's like the voice is screaming and so is the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And then when I started to learn to listen to the whispers, I had to unpack a lot of people pleasing, because the whispers were telling me to do things that were directly opposite of everything that the people that I was surrounded with wanted me to do. And
Yeah.
so there was a whole unlearning, not only of society, but of like who I was and how I was within each of my relationships. Because if you were a people pleaser and then you're not a people pleaser, there's a bridge that needs to be built
Hmm.
in relationship there.
Yeah.
I loved that you highlighted that. And also, you said something that resonated with me, and I'm going to say it in my own words, which is
Mhm.
you do the work that you needed. And I feel that way about my work. Like I teach what I most needed to know.
Yes.
Tell us all the things about your work.
Yeah. So, I like to, my way to summarize it is I'm an emotional ninja. And, and despite the fact that that's very unconventional, it's the most accurate description of I help get into people's subconscious mind and you don't even know that it's happening in a very loving way. And we find the culprit, we find the big bad monster inside that's keeping you, the saboteur inside that's keeping you from living to your full potential.
Mhm.
And your unconscious mind, its job is to make you right. And its job is to keep you alive. And it has done that. It's like if you're listening to this, your unconscious mind has done its job. You're alive, you have a pulse. And it needs to make you right. And how is it making you right? It's grabbing the information and it's perceiving and projecting out into your reality that which you believe at the deepest level. Now, if at the deepest level you believe I'm not good enough, or the world is unsafe, or people are out to get me, your unconscious mind's job is to grab that data. Out of
Mhm.
the 2 million bits of information that are coming at us in every moment, it grabs the 126 bits that reaffirm what we already believe. And so I get deep inside people's unconscious mind in their psyche, and we find the belief that's being projected outward. Is it that you don't feel worthy? Is it that you don't feel lovable?
Mhm.
Because if that is what's running the projection, if that's what's running the story, then that's what you're looking at. And when we find that thing and we remove it, because we can remove it, we can release it. And that's not just talk. Like I've done this hundreds of times of going in, finding the problem, releasing it, and then the person no longer believing that
That's
anymore.
right. So
you
this
know?
is very similar to the work that I do in theta healing, where you go in and you shift those beliefs by finding the root cause. And so many
Yes.
times it's I'm unlovable, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. And I mean there's a couple other variations, but
Yeah.
really that's what it comes down to.
hmm And when you know this, when we find it, when we find the one, because everyone's is a different flavor. There's the same big guys, right? They're the
Right.
same big old bad guys, but it really matters how you say it to yourself.
That's
That's
right.
that's the neurolinguistic aspect of it. How do you speak to yourself? Because your words are spells. The words
Mhm.
you say and the words that you say just to yourself are, in a way, even more powerful. And if you haven't unpacked what those are and looked at them and seen, oh my gosh, this is the thing that's blocking me, it's for me, this has been the most powerful work. I've sat in medicine for 2 weeks in Peru with no, crying in my in my little hammock for all alone, and I've had that experience, and I've done talk therapy, and I've done several modalities, somatic body work. All of these things are beautiful and they're powerful and they help you release. And I have just found that the work that I do allows you to have a conscious experience of it, and have an awareness. And we do it through neurolinguistic programming. We do it through a clinical process called mental emotional release, and I do it energetically through a practice called ho'omana, which comes from a Hawaiian lineage of shamanic energy work. And we throw that all in combined to do a healing, a release on a spiritual, mental, and emotional level, ancestral, and everything.
That's beautiful. And you're pointing to something here that's really subtle but important, which is that the beliefs that we have can be really sneaky. And so, like, if you were to say to somebody, I think you might not believe you're worthy, most of us would say, no, I don't believe that. I'm
Yeah.
fine. I'm totally worthy. But then when we dig deeper, if you change just how you say it, a lot of times then you can get a yes. So we do like a lot of muscle testing in my work, saying like, what does the body believe to be true about this
Yes.
statement, and digging for beliefs because they're so sneaky.
They are. They are. They're little rascals. And they'll smash your life when you're not looking. It's like, oh no, I believe I'm worthy, or the like affirmations. When you try to do an affirmation, you're like, you could tell yourself you're worthy till you're blue in the face. But if something happened when you were 4 years old and your dad told you you're not an artist because the drawing wasn't good enough, or something, and you've carried that into your adulthood, your
Mhm.
life has reflected that back to you. And that's how we know when it's a greater problem, when it's a root problem, when your life reflects it to you over and over and over again. So you get it. You do this work. I know I'm preaching the choir.
Yeah. Yeah. So for somebody who's like, okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute. My outward reality is impacting my beliefs and my beliefs are impacting my reality. What would be some of the typical, and I know that this is a huge question, but what are some typical signs that somebody might have a belief that is getting in their way?
Mm. So I like to say, in life, if you're trying to create something, you either have a baggage problem or an action problem. Okay? You either know we live in the information age. Information is cheap. How to do something it's easy to find.
Hmm.
If you know what to do and you're taking action and nothing's coming out of it, now we know that you have a baggage problem, because the baggage will not let you do the action to completion. The baggage will stop you. I know what to do, I just won't do it. I have such a fear of failure. I have
Uh-huh.
the biggest fear of failure that I can't even take the first step toward that goal. Now that's baggage. So I like to say, if you're trying to do the action and you know the action to do and you just can't get out of there, it's like driving with the emergency brake on. It's going to fuck
Hmm.
up the entire system. So
Absolutely.
that's how we know it's a baggage problem. And I'd like to tell people, like, you got a baggage problem, I'm your person. Like, we can do that. The action afterwards becomes so easy. And the action is part of the change.
That's right.
You have to take action afterwards. If you don't take action, it's easy to slide back. You get to validate your old story. You see, that's why I'm not worthy. Or if someone's like, I've tried everything and nothing works, and I'm like, okay, well then don't come to me. Because you if you've tried everything and nothing works, you're so committed to that belief, there's not a practitioner on earth that can help you. Are you ready to let go of that belief? Because once we let go of that one, if you will take your claws off of that belief, now we can get somewhere. And so if someone says, I've tried everything and I'm fed up and I want to let it go, I'm like, great, then I'm your practitioner.
I love this. So I say something similar, when it comes to theta healing or the inner child work through IFS, somatic coaching. If somebody's like, I just don't think this is going to work. And I'm going to say, then it's not. It won't work.
Mhm.
If you don't
Yes.
think it's going to work, it will not work. And, when, when we have those people, I've even muscle tested it. So I muscle test everything so that we make sure we've shifted the beliefs, not because necessarily I want to know because I believe in my work, but I want my client to know we've actually
Yes.
shifted this belief. And then they come in 2 months later and the belief is back. I'm like, that's not magic. You are
Hmm.
reinforcing that belief through behaviors and
Hmm.
seeking out evidence that your belief is true.
Yep. Yeah. We have to. One of the things I love about the work that I do and why it felt such a complete cycle is that when I let that problem go, it's not that it's never going to come back. It's, are you upcycling with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a client come to me because he was having trouble making music. And when he came to me, he was complete writer's block, comes to me, we do release work. And he's like, oh my God, I finally feel like I'm enough. He's like, will I feel like this forever? And I was like, well, we'll see. Because it's one thing, I go, do you feel inspired to make music? He goes, I can't put my guitar down. Like, it's so great. And I go, awesome. There might be a day that you get invited to the Met Gala and you have to pick an outfit and you might feel not good enough that day. But isn't that a better place to have that problem?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and we're like, yeah, are we cycling up? If we're cycling up, we're going to, like, life is not linear, it's cyclical. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to face the same problem again, but let's face it on a new level. The first time I ever did this work within myself, I had a something that probably a lot of practitioners deal with because I know I've dealt with them is like, I'm helping people. But if I'm helping people, I shouldn't make money. And it was like this, like, like I had trouble asking for money to help people. And when I let that shit go, because I did let it go, I was like, no, I deserve that. I'm changing the trajectory of their life. I have no problem asking for that. My income, like, hit a number I never seen before. And when I hit that, when I was like, "Ooh, this is my new low," a new set of issues came up because I was like, well, now I want to now I want to go even bigger. And it's like new level, new devil.
That's right.
We get to explore it, but I prefer to hit it again while I'm cycling up. I rather have a 7-figure problem than what I used to have as a 6-figure problem. Like, that's a fun problem to solve.
That's right.
Not knowing how to pay your rent, that's not fun. That used to be my problem, and now it's not my problem anymore. So, can we break through the not good enough here to the next level? Because you're bound to face something. It's called a core wound for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like it's your life journey, but you can get beyond it and break beyond it and let your life get bigger and bigger. So for me, it's like, how big can we get? My clients never come back to me for the same problem, and that's a blessing.
Yes.
They'll, I've had people who couldn't meet a partner, or they had limiting beliefs around, oh, there's no good men, or all men are trash, or whatever, you name it. I've heard it, and we let go of the baggage, and they meet someone.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to come back to me for a relationship. They've already solved that problem. But career might kick up, and then we want to talk about that. I love that they don't come to me for the same problem. That means I'm doing my job.
That's right. That's right. I always say, in healing work, the hope is that eventually they don't need you.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I prefer a catch and release, honestly. You
Yes,
know?
totally, totally. So tell us more. So we know about the neurolinguistic work that you do, the
Mhm.
hypnosis, and the subtle ways you can work with language and different things. Tell us more about the Hawaiian shamanic work.
Yeah, absolutely. So it comes from a 120 generation unbroken lineage. It has been passed on word of mouth for ages. And there was a time up until like around 1980, like 1979, 1980, it was colonialism, right?
Hmm.
Happens,
Hmm.
and it became illegal to pass on the lineage, to talk anything about the old ways, right? They
Oh.
were they were making everyone Christian at the time.
Hmm.
And so it started to fade out of existence. And well, not in a common way, it had to go fully underground. And as it came back, like there were people who held on to the lineage and passed it on. It got passed on to my teachers and my teacher and his father, and it came down to me. And it is, for me, it is magic. It's Hogwarts. I go to Hawaii twice a year, and we get to bend space and time and move things. When I say we let things go on an energetic level, like I've had people go, I'm like, well, what was the problem again? And they can't remember what their problem was.
I
And
love
that's
that.
my favorite thing to do. So with through the work, it has been preserved, it's been cared for. It is something that through the years, I've been in it about 8 years. I started teaching recently, so I teach here in Portland, an intro to this work. It's very much, for me, it's something very sacred, and it is the path, like it's my path that I have found that serves me in my connection to source, to spirit, and getting to support people in letting go of whatever it is that's ailing them, because sometimes it doesn't belong to you. It's not,
Mhm.
it's something that you got from your, it's generational baggage. It could be, you know,
Past
things,
life baggage or
past life baggage,
yeah.
energies that you picked up along the way. You were in a really low place. You went to a low place, and something might have attached to you. So there's that too. So it gets really deep and weird.
I love the
The
deep and weird.
and so people come to me for the really weird stuff, like I feel like I have an entity attached to me, and I'm like, I got you.
Hmm.
That's the
Hmm.
kind of stuff that I light up for. My wife laughs at how much of a geek I am when it comes to doing the really woo stuff, like the witch doctor stuff, they call it.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. So um I had a drop in last week. I really struggled with the word woo. And I've
Yeah.
struggled with it for a long time because I was like, what do you mean? It's reality. Like
Hmm.
this is energy is everything. I don't know why you call it woo.
Yeah.
And finally last week I don't know why it's taken me this many years, but I finally had the realization that people don't want to be tricked. They don't want to be taken advantage of. They want something they can believe in, something that is real.
Yeah.
And I think it comes from that fear of being tricked, like the proverbial Wizard of Oz kind of a thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so I'm still in my process of unpacking the word woo
Hmm.
because I love all the things woo. To me, that represents everything energetic, everything spiritual.
Hmm.
And to other people, it represents like something that they want to push away. So
Hmm.
for the listener that's listening, that's going, okay, you're pushing every single edge that I have right now.
Yes.
How would you describe the work that we do? Because we do different work, but it's also very similar.
Hmm.
Very similar.
Yeah.
How do you describe it?
So, first of all, I think we're all, what we can agree on is we are light workers, right?
That's
We
right.
we work with the light, we work in the light. And when I think of the word woo, for me, it bridges a gap. It's just like, hey, let's get honest about it. What I do is not conventional in any way,
Hmm.
shape, or form. It's not something that there are. there's not scientific studies, showing like studying magic. And in fact, there's a lot of blocking to that kind of research. There's proof that prayer works, but they won't study it. So
Right?
there can be legitimacy brought to this, and yet there's such a divide, with science moving into the spiritual. It's just like, no, we're two different things. And for me, it's like, I don't have to see the air to know that I'm breathing it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to know how electricity works to make my switch. I don't have to believe in the light switch that electricity is going to work. It
Yeah.
just works. And when it comes to the work that I've done, you and I know this, the conviction in what we do is above anything. People come to me because they know that I'm going to help them let that shit go. Like, I have no amount of baggage, nothing you've been through. I've seen my own personal, like I've dealt with my own trauma, capital T trauma. So has my partner. So have hundreds of my clients been through some of the worst shit that people go through,
Mm-hmm.
and they've overcome it and fully live rich, full lives. And so I know that what I do works because I've got evidence. And if you want to play in the realm of evidence-based procedures, I'll get you there.
I love that. Okay, I'm adopting that for myself, if that's okay.
Please. Yeah.
There's also a journalist that I met. She works for the BBC, and her name is Melissa Hoganboom, and she is a highly sensitive person, and she is interviewing scientists around the world who are doing research in sensitivity and brain science to understand a little corner of this world. And so, just adding to what you're saying, there is
Yeah.
a growing population
Yes.
of people who want to understand the why. And
Yeah.
part of it for me, and I'm curious to see what you think, was that part of it for me comes down to faith,
Mm.
like just
Mhm.
having the faith that I'm going to trust myself, my own inner knowing, that it's guided me to this person, whether that's you or
Yeah.
me or whoever. There's
Mhm.
something that I feel like we know in ourselves. We
Mhm.
feel it as truth. What do you
Yes.
think about that?
100%. We know the truth by the way it feels. And I have felt that time and time again. I know I'm not everyone's practitioner. I know I'm not everyone's practitioner, but I have absolute faith that those who I'm meant to serve will come to me. I'm currently in a doctoral program, and I'm really excited to get those letters in front of my name just to add the legitimacy to it. And guess what I'm going to be doing? This, then I'll officially be a witch doctor, and I love, love, love what I do, and I understand that there is a level of respect and prestige to those who have done the studying.
Mhm.
And and I have so much faith in my path, my lineage, the work that I do. I've sat in many medicines, and by no means do I think I've experienced everything. I sit here with a very open mind that at any moment I expect miracles. I expect to be have my mind blown as much as possible. So I'm open to that. And when I meet a practitioner, I want them to have unwavering faith.
That's right. That's right. I feel that on a cellular level. I'm just letting it land for a second. Yeah. And so there's something here. I was saying to Joe Figueres, who we both know, I was saying to her that it takes a lot for me to find a practitioner that's big enough to hold me.
Yes.
And what you're speaking to there is that absolute, resolute belief that what I'm doing works.
Hmm. Yes.
How did you come to believe so fully in
Mm.
your own work? Was it like practice? Was it seeing the evidence build up over time? How did that work for you?
There's something in my work called convincers. Okay. And everyone has a convincer threshold. Okay. Some people are, all I need to see is see it once and I believe it. right? And then there's people that are 3-time convincers. Like once you show me proficiency 3 times, I will believe it. And there are infinite convincers, people that will not believe it. They'll watch it happen over and over and over and go, we'll see if it happens today, you know? And I cannot say exactly where I am. I will say the first time I experienced it for myself, the first time I was like, my practitioner checked in with me and they were like, hey, earlier today you said this. Do you believe that anymore? I'm like, no, I don't. Like, that's ridiculous. It's silly. I laughed at it. I was like, what? Me? Like, who would say that about themselves? And that's the thing that blows my mind, is that's how you know it's an inside job. Because the things we say to ourselves, we would never let anyone say to someone we cared about.
100%.
And so when we find those culprits and we release them and we start to love ourselves fully and believe that we deserve everything that is meant for us, like the difference between the most successful person on the planet and wherever you are is they believe they deserve it with absolute certainty. They're like, duh, this is my life. And so I think I followed that path in my own work, where it was like, oh, I felt it for myself. And then I did it for someone. I was like, well, you're changed. And I remember when I first started, I was like, I just want to get some, I did put out an alert. I was like, hey, I'm going to start doing this thing. And I'm going to start charging $4,000 for a breakthrough session. I'm going to give 5 of them out for free so that I can see, like, just practice. And immediately my slots got filled up and people got on my calendar, and every single one of them had a massive change. And every single one of them either like stopped living in poverty, started dating people that were meant for them. Like in the same week, I got 2 clients send me selfies with the person they got engaged to in the same week.
Ooh, I love that.
And I'm just like, there it is. Evidence after evidence after evidence. There's nothing, I don't think there's a problem that can't be solved, you know?
Totally.
And I believe that in my bones. And so knowing what I know and what we know, and circling back to what we said earlier, is what you believe is what's true.
That's right.
And so in my belief system, everyone can be helped, and I can help those that want to be helped by me. I'm not everyone's practitioner. My modality is not for everyone. And I honor that. And those that are not meant to work for me, I give out referrals all the time.
Yeah, I love this. I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. I'm like, oh, I don't think this is I'm not what you're looking for. I'm not your flavor.
Yeah.
Can we go back to something that you said earlier? You said 2 things that really stuck out to me. One is you said words are spells, and then you were talking about affirmations, and I know that for myself personally, I've had to really tweak traditional affirmations because my subconscious, I remember this one time I had this little deck of index cards, and I had one of those little brad attacher round ring things on this deck. It had like 15 cards to begin with, and then that wasn't working. So I added 15 more, and it took me just like 20 minutes to get through my whole deck reading it out loud. I put up so much resistance around every card in that deck because I was like, I am doing this. And then my subconscious was like, no, you're not,
you're
a
not.
liar. And it took me relearning a different technique, and I'll talk about that if you're curious, but I want to know more about words or spells and how you teach affirmations, because there's so much out there right now around affirmations.
Oh, fantastic. First off, I don't teach affirmations. I wouldn't, because if your unconscious mind doesn't believe it, it calls you a liar.
Yes.
If you say I'm healthy, but then pound a triple cheeseburger, and a 6-pack of beer, your unconscious mind is like, no, you're not. You're not even a little bit. We have to. The first step is I remove the baggage. We have to remove the baggage. And then we have to set a true north. Where are you going from here? You can let go of the baggage you have around money, let's say. And when when we're done in our session, you don't open your account and now there's $1 million in there. It's like, oh,
That's not how that works.
it's not how that works. You let go of the baggage and then you go, wait a second. I believe I'm capable.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I'm capable of making, 6 figures this year. Let's start there, right? And I was like, okay, you believe you're capable. Let's start there. Now we're going to do some hypnosis. Now we're going to install the beliefs of I am capable of making 6 figures a year. I take action every day. I take one simple action every day toward bringing in wealth and prosperity. If you can break down the affirmation, or, I have some hypnosis tracks, which, I invite anyone who's listening to this, it's on my website. I have a code for you. And the hypnosis is important because we have to get into theta, right? We have to calm our mind down. We have to go deep into the place where you're no longer consciously fighting it. Because that's the problem. You're trying to say something while you're consciously, your conscious mind, you're wide awake and you're going, no, you're not going to do that. You said you were going to do that last year and you didn't do it last year. But if you go, this is the year I'm going to take the steps. I'm going to take one small step, and you say it with conviction, conscious mind, unconscious alignment.
That's right.
We have to create that alignment before we can even start to put in affirmations.
Totally. And so when you're talking about the theta state is the place where our beliefs lie in the way that I was trained in theta healing. And so that's really important. I love what you're saying about affirmations. I don't teach them either because my own experience showed me it's just a way to put up more resistance. If there's something that I want to speak, I will say something like, I am becoming a woman. And then my subconscious seems to get on board with something like that.
Yes.
But a straight affirmation, that's a no-go for me.
Yes. Yeah.
So tell us more. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's what I was going to say with hypnosis. We got to drop you in there. We got to drop you below where there's any fight, like beyond the critical faculty. We have to get down there and install it. That's where the soil is fertile.
That's right. Tell us the link and the code because you have I don't know why I said affirmations.
That's
you
good.
have hypnosis tracks on your website. Tell us more
I do. So my website is lisetteking.com. You'll get to see a little bit of what I do there. This week, actually, my web designer is adding the page for the Huna, the Hawaiian school that I'm starting to teach intros to. So that page should be up by the time this is up. We'll see. If not, either way, lisetteking.com. If you go to shop, I have a hypnosis bundle. You can either get $22 off the whole bundle or just get a hypnosis track. I've got one for money, relationship, career, and physical health.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and they're great.
Thank you.
They're really awesome.
So good. So let's talk more about the words as spells.
Yes.
Because I believe that too.
Yes.
And I'll just let you take it away.
For sure. So words are spells, and your tongue is the most powerful wand there is. So I am very careful with what I say. One of the things that they taught us in Huna in magic school is everything is designed to make you a clear channel for energy. So in the Hawaiian energy school, we become the clearest channel for energy. And there comes a point where you have to get your words in order. And so I am very careful with what I say because I know my unconscious mind is eavesdropping on everything I say. And everything I say is becoming a projection. It may not be a projection right in this moment, but it will be a projection eventually. And the time delay is based on how much you believe it. And so a spell what is a spell? They're the words, right? We spell words. It's all hidden wisdom is hidden right in our language. And I use deep care, not careful, I use deep care when I speak because it matters. If you're like Brittany and I, my wife, Brittany, we say, this is going to be the best year of our lives. Like 2025, this is going to be our year. And last year was the best year of our life. So we're so excited to see how we get stopped, right? And so we're like, this is the best year of our life. And the news cycle has been a little, if any, I'm assuming I'm in safe audience here. It's been a little aggressive and scary, right?
Yes.
So what I know to be true is no matter who is in office, I am in control of my destiny. You know,
Yes.
no matter
Yes.
who, no matter who is doing what, I am in control of my reality. And so I am so careful, energy in, energy out, what I expose my mind to. I got off of my social media links don't work right now. I have Honest Feedback Podcast that is still active, but I got off of Facebook and Instagram right now because it wasn't bringing me joy. Like it was actually just not feeling good. And so I deleted those accounts. Probably get back on at some point. I'm talking to a marketing expert and it sounds like I'm going back on there eventually, but I'm not doing it with my own energy in this moment because I'm like, where do I want to be in? Do I want to operate from fear? Absolutely not. Do I want to, or do I want to act from where I'm empowered? And from just getting off of those websites and declaring, and truly, I still 100%, you cannot tell me this is not going to be the best year of my life. Pandemic happened. We went on a 6-month honeymoon and it was fantastic. You know what? Gas prices were really cheap and it was really inexpensive to travel and it was incredible and it was so beautiful. It was simultaneously the worst time in some people's lives and we created something beautiful. And so with whatever's happening in the news cycle, I go, where can I affect change? Well, I'm affecting change right now, right
That's
here on
right.
this podcast.
You absolutely are. Yes. I second everything that you say. So 2020, I mean, yeah, it was a dumpster fire outwardly, but it was the year of my own personal transformation. And it was exactly the gift that I needed. I
Mm-hmm.
needed to slow down, to stop the hustle, to get off the hamster wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how to do it. In fact, in December of 2019, I was a choir director for 26 years. And I had done, I think, my 11th show of the Nutcracker with an opera children's chorus. And I was so exhausted. I laid down on the couch and I was too tired to lift the remote. So I just
Oof.
laid there in just exhaustion for 2 hours till my energy came back a little bit. And I remember thinking to myself, like, please, universe, higher power, like, please help me figure out a way to get off of this hamster wheel. I don't know how to get off without being thrown off. And then
Mm.
when the pandemic hit, everyone around me was like, please bring schools back. Please start everything up. And I was like, oh my gosh, I get to stay home. It
Yeah.
was exactly what I needed. So yes,
Yes.
you can make it what you want to make it.
100%. We are so in control of our reality. And there's I'll say this, there's a reason why there's so much investment in social media and there's like a big grab, like there's a it's like a tech war out there. What's happening with TikTok is because that app has learned how to get people's attention, and when you get people's attention and you give them the reality you want them to have, that's how
Mhm.
that reality gets created.
That's exactly right. And so they pour more energy, more, and then next thing you know, their outward reality is projecting that right back to them, what they feared most. So I'm very, very careful. And I do that. I use that word intentionally to
Yeah.
be a creator on social
Hmm.
media, not a consumer.
Yes.
Because to what you said earlier about like it being an energy leak, if I do any consuming, I am depleted
Yes.
and anxious and stressed. And so I'm super careful.
Yeah, yeah, it's important. And for right now, I don't know how long it's going to last. Like I said, I post for our podcast. I think that's the only place right now I have on social media. And I post on TikTok on occasion, and I've done my best to inspire action. And since not being on social media, I've had more connections and conversations. I talked to a friend I hadn't talked to in 3 years because I reached out to her. I'm like, hey, I'm getting off of social media. Do you want to connect? And we did. And it was so
Mm.
cup filling. And we have been hosting community events. My wife and I have been hosting people in our home. We've had more true quality connection since getting off of social media and actually affecting people than
Mm.
we were when we thought we were helping people, or it was yelling into the void, which is sometimes what social media feels like.
Yes. Oh, I love this. I love this. Yeah, there's so much real connection that's possible.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. My mind was going somewhere when you were saying that, and I just tuned right in and now it flipped out. We'll see if it comes back.
that's
But I,
okay.
I think that connection, the actual connection,
Mhm.
is such a vulnerable piece for so many people. And they don't know how to build community. And in my travels this summer, and I want to hear what your travels were like, but in my travels, I learned that community is there the moment you show up for it,
Mhm.
but you have to show up for it.
You have to. Yes. Yeah. And something you said earlier really touched me. It was when you were laying on the couch and there was a moment, what I heard was there was a moment of surrender. You said, please help me because I don't know how.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that is such a vulnerable moment that we have to reach before change actually occurs. The moment if you're like, this is how we're going to do it, we're going to do it like this, or we're going to do it like that, and we're going to fight, or I'm going to force change. It's not how it works.
It's
There's a surrender, then there's a flow. There's
mm-hmm.
a surrender and a flow, and a surrender and a flow, and then you start to like surf with life. And I just think that's such a poignant moment in your journey because you stop thinking you know how to in that moment. And I felt that with my own quit the rat race and go on a honeymoon. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And it was the beginning of everything. That's how we ended up in Portland. That's how I ended up in my home. We started our podcast. We started our own retreat company. My wife and I have a retreat company. Like everything has been listening to spirit and being obedient to spirit.
Mm. I love that. And that's kind of where we started, is being obedient to spirit.
Yeah.
It's so impactful. My word for the year for 2025 is impact. And so I'm filtering so many of the things that I say and do through that word. Am I
Yeah.
having an impact in a positive way on people? And
Hmm.
what's the impact of situations on me? Is it
Yeah.
something I want to continue? And
Yeah.
when I think about being obedient to spirit, it's not always convenient,
Oh no.
almost never. It very rarely makes logical sense. Like you're not going to get it to add up on any ledger or pro
Hmm.
con list.
Hmm.
Yet it feels so good when you
It,
finally say, okay, I'm in.
yeah. 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 And when you say I'm in, there is an ease to it. I think the fight comes, it's always an inside job. The fight, the resistance, it comes from the inside of like, well, I don't know how, and that sounds scary. Or like I'm I know we're both in that business of come on in, the water's fine when you let go of that thing that you've been holding on to your whole life.
Hmm.
That like some people get turned on by the suck of it all. Well,
Yeah.
like they love being, some people love being a victim. Like,
Hmm.
some people just like love being a victim of their own circumstance. And like, I'm not your practitioner, I'm not your person.
Same. In fact, I say this is not for you if you're still playing the blame game on all
Yeah.
of my sales pages. Like just
Yeah.
it's a hard pass for me.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do that. I played in there too at one point, but
Yeah.
nope.
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh my goodness. So, at the beginning when we opened, you said, follow that nudge to go travel again. And I rented this place for 14 months, which I know is a weird number, but that just felt right,
I love it.
with the intention of when I packed everything up and put it in storage, I hadn't quite sorted through what is actually like mine. What is it that I want to carry with me on this journey? And I had it in two big crates in PDX Movers Warehouse. And I was like, I need to get it out, be with my stuff, get rid of the next layer. And then I probably am going to go do it again.
Yes. I love it.
Or
I
maybe
follow
I'll
it.
I'll buy houses all around. That is a possibility as well.
I love that too. Just whatever your soul's being called to do, follow it.
Yeah. For me, it's travel.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
100%.
Oh my gosh. Lisette, this has been amazing. I'm so grateful for your time. I'm so grateful for you
Mm.
sharing your wisdom and your commitment to doing sacred work really is meaningful. And I just want to recognize and celebrate that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. It's an honor and it's a calling. I'm just saying yes to spirit, honestly. Just this is like, yes, aye, aye, Captain. So thank you for seeing me. Thank you for having me on. This is such a great conversation. I know we can go another 90 minutes for sure.
For sure. Maybe we will.
Okay, let's
All
do it
right.
again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. I hope that you enjoyed that episode too. One of my big takeaways and one of the things I appreciated most was when Lisette was talking about how there is an upcycling in healing work. And I know for myself and for my clients, one of the things I always say is healing is not a destination, it's a journey. And so I loved when Lisette brought that into focus by talking about upcycling, how you might be working through the same themes, but you're working through it from a different place. That is just so good. And it felt so settling to my nervous system to put some language around it. One of the other big pieces that I took away from this conversation with Lisette is the importance of getting beneath the conscious mind into the subconscious. And of course, I know this as a somatic coach and a theta healing practitioner. And it's just so powerful to have that reminder that our conscious mind can really block things for us. So if you want to download one of Lisette's hypnosis tracks, I've put the link in the show notes. Go check it out right there, along with all of Lisette's other links so that you can connect with her. And don't forget to get registered for the Energetic Leadership Masterclass coming on March 12th. This is going to be a game changer because when you change how your energy is showing up first and you manage your energy, protect your energy, and prioritize how you're showing up in leadership energetically, you're going to have your mind blown at what falls into place, what feels so much easier, and the amount of clarity that you'll have in your work and your business. So go get registered for that at brendawinkle.com/leadership. Thank you so much for listening to Your Yes Filled Life. If you enjoyed this episode, would you please go share it with a friend and leave a 5-star rating and review wherever you're listening to this podcast? It takes you about 30 seconds, and it's one of the most impactful things you can do to help a podcast that you like grow. Thank you so much for being here today. Bye for now. Until next time.